Okay, so welcome back, everybody. We are diving into some pretty intense stuff today.
Yeah, we are.
We're looking at
Heavy stuff.
yeah,
Yeah.
excerpts from the Quran, Surah Al-Qariah, which is known as the shocker.
Right.
And it's called that for a reason. This chapter really paints this vivid, like, world-changing event. I mean, we're talking
Transformation.
total transformation, an event that shakes up everything. So today we're going to try to unpack some of this intense imagery and figure out, like, what are the deeper meanings behind all these metaphors?
Yeah, the way it opens is just incredible, like repeating the shocker, like that.
Yeah.
And then, it's followed by all those questions.
Yeah.
It's like you're being given a riddle, but it's like a divine riddle. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it totally pulls you in right away. Like, I can just imagine this huge, like, world-altering event.
Yeah.
But okay, so beyond that, like, what's the significance of starting with this, like, mystery, the unknown?
I think it's meant to emphasize how important, how big this event is going to be. I mean, this isn't just like some regular historical event. It's something that like defies how we normally understand things. It makes us realize that like our knowledge is limited. And I think by asking all those questions, the surah is encouraging us like to think about the answers and to really try to wrap our heads around what it all means.
Yeah, for sure. It sets a powerful tone. But then it gets even, like, more intense.
Oh, yeah.
With all this imagery.
Yeah.
It describes people as scattered moths and mountains as tufted wool.
Right.
And those are, like, some pretty striking, unsettling, I don't know.
They are. It's really fascinating how these metaphors kind of like combine the familiar with the extraordinary. Like mountains, they're usually symbols of strength and like being permanent, right? But then suddenly, they're described as being soft and almost like weightless, like wool. It makes you think that maybe this event is going to make the world unstable, Like everything that seems so solid and enduring could be transformed.
And that moth imagery, too.
Yeah.
That's really interesting. Moths are usually drawn to light.
Yeah, exactly.
But here, they're being scattered almost as if they're, like, afraid of the light.
Right. It's like the light itself has become something terrifying.
Yeah.
It definitely flips our expectations, and it just adds to that feeling that everything's being disrupted.
Right.
And this disruption, it isn't just like physical, it's something deeper. It's like a spiritual reckoning.
Which leads us to the scales.
Yes. Yeah.
And the idea of deeds being weighed. I mean, that's such a powerful image,
Yeah.
Like almost like a cosmic system of
accountability.
Accountability, yeah.
Absolutely. The image of the scales, especially back then, you think about scales, and they were really important for trade, making sure everyone got what they deserved.
Right.
So this metaphor is like taking that idea, that concept of scales, to a like cosmic level.
Right.
It suggests there's like a divine justice system, a system where your actions have consequences, good and bad.
It really makes you wonder, like, what does this concept really mean? Is it just about, like, reward and punishment? Or is it something, deeper, like the way our actions affect our souls?
Yeah, that's a really great question. And I think it's open to different interpretations. On one level, it definitely points to the idea that we're responsible for what we do.
Yeah.
Like every choice we make, every action adds to the weight of our scales.
Yeah.
But then I think on a deeper level, it might also be about how our actions can actually change us.
Yeah.
They have that power.
And then there's this contrast, right?
Right.
Between the pleasant life that people with heavy scales get, and then the abyss for those with light scales.
Yeah.
And that's a pretty big difference.
It is, definitely. And the surah doesn't soften that image of the abyss at all, describing it as a raging fire.
Right.
Now, fire is often associated with destruction, but in Islamic thought, it can also mean purification.
Right.
It's a powerful force. It can destroy what's impure, and refine what's left.
So maybe the abyss, even though it's scary, could also be seen as a way of changing, transforming into something better.
Yeah, I think that's a really insightful interpretation. It goes back to the idea of the shocker being this like catalyst for huge change, not just in the world, but inside us too.
Definitely leaves us with a lot to think about. This mysterious event, all this imagery of chaos and transformation, and then this idea of judgment, consequence.
Right.
It paints a powerful picture of the end times.
It really does. And it makes us wonder, how do these metaphors from the Quran connect with other belief systems? Do you see any similarities in other faiths or philosophies? How do these ideas about judgment and the afterlife fit in with your own understanding of the world?
That's a great point. Well, thanks for joining us today as we dove into Surah Al-Qariah. We hope this sparked some questions for you, got you thinking.
Yeah.
And maybe inspired you to learn more about all of this.
Absolutely.
Okay, see ya.